and I have with me Stephanie Somerset, and I want to talk about Shell Island. Now, Stephanie, I always get the name of your organization wrong, so tell us again.
The organization is called Bay Families with Dogs.
Bay Families with Dogs. That's right. So, welcome back. You haven't been with me in a while.
It's always a pleasure to be on your show, Burnie.
Tell us a little bit about the latest. And the reason I asked you to come on, Stephanie, is I had people asking me, hey, what's the deal with dogs on Shell Island? I haven't heard about it in a while. Is it legal? And so I just wanted you to come in and update people what they can do without being harassed at Shell Island.
Thanks, Burnie, and it's a great day to talk about it. And if you look at the weather forecast for the weekend, I know I'm going to be out there and probably see a lot of folks there. I'd like to give a quick background. This might help bring people up to date. I think almost everybody knows Shell Island is Bay County's treasure. It's a unique recreational boating destination for locals and visitors. Believe it or not, this has been documented all the way back to the 1800s. Boaters go out there, they anchor, families swim and cook and camp. It's like a place to rest and recharge. And we've always looked out for each other on the island, and that's what makes it unique. We look out for the island too, by the way. This has been our getaway. I mean, anybody you talk to that goes out there will say it's a way to get away from a world of too many rules, talking about too much government, regulations, deadlines. It's really been a kind of a sanctuary of freedom for people. And for the longest time, everybody knew our tax dollars were being used by the state to buy up land to be preserved for our recreation. Everybody thought that was a great idea until the summer of 2006. That's when the state put armed cops on the island, and they began giving people tickets for various unbefore-known misdemeanors, surprise misdemeanors. Having your dog along was one of them, stepping on the wrong area of sand, having a frosty beverage, you name it. They even used ATVs running all over the island and helicopters. And to a lot of people, it was really, it was a sacrilege to the serenity, and it was actually an affront to the private property owners who still exist out there too. And it really broke faith with the people and kind of exposed this dirty little secret people didn't know about, and that is that unbeknownst to us, while we've been enjoying Shell Island all these years, there are all these laws and regulations that they plan to try to impose upon us out there. So Bay Families with Dogs was formed from the outcry over that summer. Over 16 people were declared criminals for having their dog at Shell Island, and I know you talked to some of them.
And this is was really a story when I first got here about an inconsistent and aggressive enforcement of rules we didn't know in advance.
It absolutely was. I mean, we even heard later from a guy who was enjoying his coffee on Sunday morning and had a cop standing on the beach yelling at him. And we found out later the cop was standing on private property. So that gives you an idea of what was going on. So it created quite a stir. We formed our organization because we've been taking our dogs up there. They're part of the family. We've been taken out there for generations. So what went down after that? The county commission voted to ask the state to back down. There was a public town hall meeting, and there was a huge outpouring of support for us. And the commission supported us during that meeting, too. We're very thankful to them. The state admitted that they didn't have full jurisdiction in the middle of the island. Their park boundaries end at the mean high tide line. They don't have jurisdiction on county roads, county lots, private lots, etc. And in the middle of the island is a subdivision containing all of that. Later, I met with state officials, and they told me privately it was an unfortunate action, and I'm really pleased to hear that. And I think that they truly mean well, and the current organization seems to be wanting to treat the citizens of Bay County right. In fact, we worked with DEP and the state legislature, and we got the park rule violations reduced from a criminal misdemeanor down to an infraction. Now, this was a state statute that had been in place for years and years and years. So when it got reduced, it took effect across the entire state. So now when you're in a state park and you pick the wrong flower or swing off the wrong tree limb, you're not creating, you're not a criminal anymore. Our organization did a lot of other things to take care of Shell Island and show we're good citizens. We installed a pet waste station to help keep it clean. We've had numerous fundraisers and beach cleanups. It's cleaner than it ever was before. And we've even worked with the Audubon Society and biologists on how to, count the birds and protect them. We've also been looking for ways for boaters to have access. We found there's a new spoil island actually growing that was growing last year in the past with an anchorage, so we mapped that out for the boaters. Our support base continues to grow. We've got over 3,000 petition signatures to have our dogs at Shell Island, and close to 1,000 members of our organization, so we're ready for a tea party if we need to have one. We have to have a Shell Island one, but let's hope we don't have to.
Stephanie, you know, the state and government might say, but you need government to keep Shell Island the oasis that it is. But you've shown that, no, as you said earlier, you look out for each other, those of you who enjoy Shell Island. And when you feel ownership in the island, when it's your place to go, you're going to take care of it. And you're going to form private organizations, local organizations that do a much better job than government could ever do.
I think that's a good way to look at it. And another way to look at it is, you know, I know, Burnie, you have people talking on your show a lot about it's okay if I get stopped by the cops to check my license. It's okay if I have to wear a seatbelt. It's okay if they ban donuts.
Makes me safer, and as long as you're not doing anything wrong, who cares?
I think the general philosophy is we like to feel that we are adults. We don't have to be the child and have the government be the adult and take care of us. And there is no group that's proven it better than the boaters at Shell Island all these generations.
That's a really good point, and it comes down to the relationship between free and dignified people and the government that exists to serve us, not the other way around.
I think that's a good way to put it. You know, it really has brought people together too, because when you go out there on your boat, you really have to have self-sufficiency, but people pull together. I've seen people work together to fight off a thunderstorm, share things when somebody forgets something, tend to somebody who might get injured, and so you can imagine the shock and affront to people's sensibilities when we saw policemen out there trying to police us for rules that we didn't even know existed.
Now, when the next time I'm asked, are we allowed to bring our dogs to Shell Island, what's the answer, and how is the island composed? Because there are private parts of the island.
Yes. The answer is, according to the state DEP, you can bring your dog to Shell Island, but keep your dog on the wet sand because that's not state park, and so their state park rules don't apply. In the middle of the island is Spanish Annie subdivision, and in that subdivision you're likely to be in unincorporated Bay County. There are county roads that crisscross all through that subdivision where they have come out and said they don't have jurisdiction on those roads, and if you want to get a map, it's on our website at bayfwd.org.
bayfwe.org.
BayFWD as in families with dogs.
Okay, got it.